The concept of optimistic intelligence, as promoted by the Intercommunion Congregation of the Universal Life Churches, is a fairly simple one, but you have to understand that it's not what you would expect. The intellect gives us this capacity to care, to have a perspective that is helpful to our existence, our survival, the survival and existence of others. And this intellectual capacity is has three perspectives. One is empathy, which supports our goodness. One is objectivity, which supports our virtue of truth. And one is creativity, the ability to see things from a lot of different perspectives, which supports our virtue of art, which is how we enjoy our lives despite the fact that they are not perfect. And these capacities cannot operate unless educated by our trust, by the reality of what we experience, which it takes trust to express. So without that trust being expressed, then these higher reflective abilities that are able to care for us cannot operate because they're in the dark. They can't be in the light unless they're educated. Now, this isn't an automatic thing. When our faith in caring is damaged, where it begins to seem that our needs, our vital needs, aren't going to be met, then under those conditions, we become unconscious to a point. The full consciousness of such a damaged faith would, without a sense of safety and appropriate comfort, be impossible to feel, because we'd be in a panic. We'd be in a constant anxiety attack or depression. So how do we deal with that? Well, it's very important that we deal with that by understanding what the appropriate communication between trust and perspectives of trust and perspectives of caring are. Now, empathy can help you to feel stronger within your feelings. That's whether it's a positive stress or a negative one. These are processes I call rejoicing and grieving. And we are unable to do this without some sense of it being okay. That means that we can't feel a thing while under very real conditions that limit our needs being met. So, first of all, we have to be in a safe condition in order to integrate or to be able to become conscious of our hopelessness, our helplessness, our damaged faith. You can't feel hopelessness and helplessness if the conditions of hopelessness and helplessness are current. That isn't going to work. When those conditions change, however, it's possible by attempting to communicate with some degree of trust, which is what I believe Jesus meant by the mustard seed of faith. So that the higher abilities, reflective abilities to care, can be enlightened. Yet, it's I see it as a slow process. As we begin to trust a little, we begin to open up to more caring, and as that caring is enlightened a little bit more by the communication of that trust, the caring can be more and more appropriate. And so over a period of time, we can form a connection between those things that undergird our virtues and do comfort us through understanding and empathy and the ability to create new and different experiences or ways of seeing things. Art. These abilities help us slowly to accomplish what we need to accomplish in order to become conscious, to be truly conscious again. This consciousness is spiritual consciousness. And it is an optimism that is natural to us. Optimism that results from an education of our abilities to care through our abilities to trust. And so there are various techniques and abilities to enhance trust and caring. And I can give you an example. The desensitization process that some people use, like if you're afraid of crossing bridges, you imagine a bridge. That's a little bit of an act of trust where you're expressing your fear. And the response, the intelligent comfort is the offering of an imaginary bridge, first of all. It's not so scary. And a comforting kind of atmosphere. And then slowly, the person's able to cross a real bridge. That's a growth between trust and caring. And it happens over a period of time. It's not possible, I don't believe, to totally immerse oneself in the hurt of damaged faith all at once. And it happens by degrees, and then finally you're able to get the whole thing. And this also refers to, you can take a look at this and understand that this defines a lot of things. You can make all kinds of connections from this approach. Now, creativity needs the kind of trust that's willing to play along. You can't play along with a joke, or or if you can't if you can't get into the music or into a movie and so on, it makes it very difficult for creativity to give you some comfort, some sense of safety and a better way of a safer way of viewing things. It's very hard without that. So you need what I call the power of play, or the strength or trust of play, um, to to communicate well with creativity. And you do need um, a sense of mindfulness to communicate. You know, mindfulness meaning not being overwhelmed or overtaken by our experiences, just observing them like a scientist. This kind of mindfulness is necessary to communicating in an effective way with objectivity or understanding. And that's a kind of trust. And another kind of trust I call feeling, the ability to express your feelings honestly and to allow them to take you over. Cannot is well, it's what you need to communicate with empathy effectively. And these are complementary sorts of communications. And so that sums up what I have to say in terms of achieving real optimism and spiritual consciousness. And I do thank you for your time.